Confound those confused contraptions. Despite my best. Right then, now that I have found a shady spot where I can enjoy a brief respite from this desert's dread, I must say, nothing reminds a man of his own mortality quite like a desolate wasteland. As a strapping young lad, I could have survived alone in this desert for years. Why, on one occasion, I fought off a Bengal tiger with naught but an empty flask. Eureka! At last, I have found signs of human life. This afternoon, I came... Salvation, thy name is Prophet's Rest. After a proper meal and some time out of the sun, the makeshift... It seems that Prophet's Rest is less a fortress and more an enclave or monastery. I have discovered why Prophet's Rest is so generous with their water. The well at the edge of the compound is built directly on top of what the locals call a water vein.
Die sind alle vor uns
Endless
zwischen unseren
supply of
Welten.
water bubbles up from beneath the earth. Its existence is a minor miracle. Most of my work as the monastery's doctor has been trivial. Every now and then one of the guards gets injured by the local wildlife. Unbelievable. Have these idol-worshipping ninnies replaced all their common sense with blind devotion? Have you... It took time, but I finally pilfered enough supplies and tools to survive on my own. Loading. It has been several days since I left Prophet's Rest, and I have seen no sign of pursuit. The obelisk is reacting to the presence of the artifacts with even more intensity than I expected. Each obelisk on the island... I have turned back north in the hope of making contact with some of the natives. It is a risk, as I cannot be sure. What terrible misfortune! My keen sense of direction finally led me to a local settlement. Curse these stubborn brutes! Despite a litany of polite, gentlemanly requests, they... At last, I can hear myself think. The guards have moved me to a... After days of travel, we finally arrived at the Burning Phoenix clan's compound. And while my former peer... I had been pondering why Timur required the services of a doctor. He seemed to be in excellent health. Nazreen is quite different from her husband. She's a timid little flower of a woman, or rather, she would. Rockwell, old bean, you've done it again. Both mother and child made it through. The silver tongue of Sir Edmund Rockwell has prevailed once again, after spending far too long watching the burning phoenix. I found it. I really found it. Raw, untainted samples of that same mysterious...
Ja, auf der Rückseite. Wenn ich dagegen gegen den Bußgeld da verstoß, da Einwand machen, weil ich bin ja eigentlich im Recht. Also meiner Meinung nach.
Ja.
Ich war ja wirklich nicht am Ende. Nur weil das 2 Beamte sind und ich nur eine einzige Person alleine war?
Is simply extraordinary. It is warm to the touch. Alas, poor Timur. He was so focused on celebrating his victory over one foe. As my withdrawal from the Burning Phoenix's camp demanded haste, I did not. Despite my limited equipment, I have managed to run some initial tests on the Edmundium. Based on my...
Na, die Squad haben sie immer nicht erhöht. Sind immer nur noch 3 Leute drin, oder nicht?
Wo?
Na, bei Skull and Bones. Mehr als 3 Leute gehen immer noch nicht wahrscheinlich in eine Party, oder? Also so eine Gruppe.
Confounded weather. Not only did that sandstorm separate me from my steed, but when it cleared, I was... I am glad that I possessed the foresight to hide my presence from Miss Walker after her capture on the island. I may have given Miss Walker too much credit, although I carelessly allowed her to... I cannot wait to be rid of that glowering menace of a woman. This so-called Wali al-Aswad. I suspect the feeling is mutual. She has offered little in the way of farewells,